Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that warm introduction, Riley. I'm Gracie.
And I'm Million.
We have watched these presenters practice for months. They've come so far from not even knowing what they were going to say tonight to coming and fine-tuning all the details so you can see it tonight.
We are so excited for you to hear these powerful, heartwarming, and even funny speeches. So without further ado, let's get started.
Our first presenter is a junk food loving,
Outgoing,
motivated, and positive person who is here tonight ready to share her speech, Reclaiming My Power.
let's welcome Ava Detzel to the stage.
Every famous superhero has their own superpower. Either they can fly, turn invisible, or teleport to different locations. Superman and Wonder Woman have the ability to fly to great heights. Thor and the Hulk have unbeatable strength. The Flash has super speed to catch the villain. I could go on and on about superheroes and their powers. That's my inner child talking. I wanted to be that kid and live in my own little land where nothing could stop me. That's not me, though. That's not reality. Everything is not just a movie or a TV show where the superhero beats the villain. I am that superhero trying to defeat my own villain. My power is that I am a sensational kid. What I mean by this is I have this condition known as SPD, or sensory processing disorder. This means my brain has difficulty responding to and receiving information involving my senses. This makes simple things like getting dressed, eating, and lights very difficult for me to handle. In kindergarten, it felt like I had these big emotions, and I didn't know what to do with them. I felt like they were trying to take over my body and control me, and try to just be me when that's not me. I wasn't able to get dressed or do daily tasks a 7-year-old was capable of doing. They were my biggest hurdles, my biggest challenges. It felt like society claims as normal chores, tasks, challenges to do was the hardest thing for me to do. Trying to explain to people what I was going through was really hard. It felt like people were judging me and thinking I was a brat or doing it for attention. It didn't make sense for a shy, bubbly girl to turn so fast and go full-on anxiety attack from just putting socks on in the morning. The only thing keeping me going was my mom and my dad. They were my biggest supporters and my sidekicks along the way. My parents were with me last night as I was having my anxiety attack, fainting at the school, or crying at Grandma and Grandpa's because I was so hot that I was ready to faint or faint again or throw up, but they were there by my side no matter what, even if I was being annoying. I couldn't respond to sensory information in a practical manner. I would overreact and obsess about the small things. So in school, when teachers were scolding other kids, I thought it was my fault. I felt like I was the one doing something wrong. I thought that when kids were getting in trouble, I did it. It was all my fault, when really, it wasn't me. I was just in the background. Another example was in school. We had to do our Christmas concert, and you stood on the stage like I'm doing tonight, and you sang your song, and you did a little hand gestures. I would think and obsess over this little hand gestures I did, till the concert, till weeks, years afterwards of how I did it. Did I go too slow, too fast? Was people judging me, laughing at me? What were they thinking? These obsessions would follow me to the point where I'd build up like a volcano and explode. I would explode to the point where I'd rip off my clothes and rip out my hair sometimes and wrap myself in a blanket because that was the only thing that felt right to me. My dad would hold me and rock me and holding me in the blanket because that was my safe place and the only place that felt right at the time. I'd spiral into anger so often, and I'd cry, and I'd scream, and I'd freak out. I ripped out my hair so often, I had a bald spot right in the middle of my head here. I did this often. I missed school because of this. The hair pulling for me was numb. It was like the only thing I could do to cope with the anxiety I was feeling. It was the right thing for me to do at the time. With a few phone calls and talking to some doctors, my parents were able to figure out that what I had was on the autism spectrum disorder. This is where my central integration system, or my central nervous system, has trouble responding to and receiving the information involving my senses and me doing motor skills. At a young age, this didn't click for me that I'd have to be on medication for the rest of my life. As I got older, this started to sink in. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to be the stubborn girl and do it my own way. No doctors, no therapists, my way. I'm very grateful what they have done for me and all the people I talk to. Like, if you need a therapist, I can hook you up. I went through a dark time, though, because I stopped taking my medication and accepting help. This was the worst thing I possibly could have done. It made things worse, and at school it didn't help. I was getting bullied and teased because why am I so outgoing? Why am I crying all the time? What's going on with her? Is she crazy? I was called awful names that no one needs to hear. And my friends would always try to take advantage of my big heart. I was and still am that person all my friends come to, they're having troubles. They would tell me all the gossip, everything. Whatever it was, I was there and I heard it. But a lot of times, I would find ways to relate, but then they'd spin it back on me. Why are you so positive? Why are you so outgoing? I'm like, okay. But I was told I needed to shut up and not be positive. But I learned I needed to stop listening to what they were saying and be optimistic in my own ray of sunshine, because they can't stop me. The only person stopping me is me. During the summer of grade 8, we moved to Lloydminster. It was a fresh start for our family. It was a new beginning. Our small town was home to almost 3 years of Detzel family generations. But here, no one knew who I was, my history, what I went through, all the doctors I've seen, what I'm dealing with on the inside. It was a new, fresh start. I realized, though, that I can't hide who I am. I need to express my differences, because these challenges made me who I am. They helped me through the toughest of times and the easiest of times. I learned that hiding my experiences is not what I'm called to do. I wanted to be able to help kids who are just like me, different and special, because they may not know it, but they're their own greatest superheroes. They are much stronger than what they think and what they're capable of doing. I find it so easy and natural for me to talk to little kids because I can find ways to relate that others may not understand. I wanted to show them that they aren't alone and that they can overcome their greatest fears just like I did, like talking on a stage in front of a bunch of people. My passion is to share my story and hope it relates to other people like it did for my family and people around me. My superpower is that I can share my story, and I hope others can do the same.